Hello and thank you for tuning in to Millennium Movies. Today's video is going to be all about Stranger Things Season 3 and everything you need to know about it. So first and foremost, the release date. During their summer press tour, Netflix confirmed we won't be seeing Season 3 until summer 2019. So I would venture to guess the next season will drop sometime between May and July. I think that's the safe bet. As for the timeline of Season 3, it's going to be set in the summer of 1985. So about a year and a half time jump, seeing as season 2 was in 1983. So think early and mid 1985. What movies were out already that the creators could possibly reference and pull from? Well, there's The Breakfast Club, there's Back to the Future, and there's The Goonies, which of course has Sean Astin, who played Bob Newby, superhero, in season 2 of Stranger Things. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's a little bit of maybe a little bit of time jumping. I don't know. Back to the Future references. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Never count anything out with the craziness of the Upside Down. That's for sure. Now, from what a lot of the producers, the Duffer Brothers, and the cast seem to be saying, season 3 is going to be pretty balanced in terms of there will be a good amount of summer fun and good times, but there will also be a dark tone as well, and the most action that they've done in the series so far. And I think that's the sweet spot, kind of like Goldilocks. I mean, like, look at some of these ridiculous outfits that the cast is having to wear. Yet at the same time, all of these characters are going to get stuff done. So it's looking to be a perfect blend of despair and happiness. So that's always nice. Also, if you look at this photo here in the last couple ones, it looks like Mad Max and Eleven are going to be spending some much needed time together. So let's see if they can coexist, and I think they will. I think they'll get. I think Eleven can get past that misunderstanding that she had with seeing Mike and Mad Max together in the school gym. So, moving on from there, David Harbour recently gave us some insight into his character Jim Hopper for the upcoming season, and he said the interesting thing about Hopper is that he's really great in a crisis. He's really great running around, punching people and solving crimes and being a man of justice. And he wants to know what's he like when there's no crimes and when he's just raising a teenage daughter who's becoming a woman. He said, I think it's probably the greatest challenge for him. It's probably more terrifying than any Demogorgon could possibly be. So he also teased his character's story a bit more, saying that there's a lot of domestic life that happens before season 3 begins. So it's fair to say, without it being a spoiler, that you can assume that Hopper is at a boiling point when our story begins, and we're going to see him grapple with those issues throughout the season. So it looks like his character is going to be going through some type of inner conflict, and I think that creates some nice tension and some nice dramatic moments. Certainly, we got to see that with season at the end of season 1 with of course learning the passing of his daughter, and then again in season 2 where he talks to Eleven on their way to the Hawkins lab about how he's just kind of scared. So I like that we can get to see that more sensitive side of him, and I really can't wait to see what's in store for him in season 3. Now, in another interview, producer Sean Levy gave us some nice details on Will Byers and the villain for season 3. So starting with the Will news, he said, we're going to give Will a break. We're not going to put Will through hell for a third season in a row. He'll be dealing with stuff, but he won't be at rock bottom like in the past seasons. So this is good to hear because I want to see Will actually help solve whatever mystery there is, and I want to see him contribute to saving the day, like of course, like his friends have in the past 2 seasons. Rather than just being the damsel in distress. Let's give Will back some power. Let's give him some willpower. Will the Wise. As for season 3's villain, Sean Levy said, we're going to be dealing with forces of evil that are brand new. So maybe the Mind Flayer isn't returning after all, or it'll just be a secondary villain to a brand new threat. Now, I can imagine a monster more menacing than the Mind Flayer, so perhaps it's another experimented kid with superpowers, just like 11 and 8, who maybe has more sinister plans than the other 2 gifted people we've seen in the series thus far. I think that'd be really cool, and that's personally what I'm hoping we get. It's kind of like it feels, it'll kind of feel a little bit of like X-Men-y. I would totally be down for that type of conflict and those types of villains for season 3. Also, another little interesting thing that I wanted to point out is that Priya Ferguson, who plays Lucas's little sister, has been upgraded to a series regular, meaning she'll be on a lot more episodes than she was last season. So that's just a nice little thing that I wanted to mention. Now, moving on to new characters. Some of the new characters, as you can see here, include Francesca Rio in a recurring role as the Hawkins Community Pool lifeguard Heather. Now, Heather will become a centerpiece of Season 3's mystery, and that's all we know about her thus far. Carrie Ewells has been cast for a guest role as Mayor Klein. The character is described as handsome, slick, and sleazy, your classic 80s politician who's more concerned with his own image than with the people of the small town that he governs. Next is Jake Busey, the son of Gary Busey, and he's been cast for the role of Bruce. The character seems to be right up the actor's alley, as he's described as a journalist for the Hawkins Post with questionable morals and a sick sense of humor. So, those Buseys and their sick sense of humor. It certainly seems like a match made in heaven for him. Now, lastly, Maya Thurman Hawk will play an alternative girl bored with her Monday day job. She seeks excitement in her life, and she gets more than she bargained for when she uncovers a dark secret in Hawkins. Now, we've already seen our first look at her character in the Starcourt Mall promo for Season 3, in which we saw her working with Steve as members of the Scoops Ahoy staff. Ahoy! So, yeah, we've gotten our first glimpse of her. But speaking of that mall, it probably cost the producers a pretty penny to build that set, and I doubt they would put it in the show if they didn't have big plans for it. So I expect that the mall is going to be the focus of whatever final battle our characters go through this season, and if not the final battle, then certainly at least a battle of some sorts will occur there. Now, before I jump into my death predictions for this season, I did want to use this time to pay tribute to our fallen heroes, Season 1's Barbara and Season 2's Bob Newby. May they rest in peace. Shout out Mr. Radio Shack. Now, I wanted to do the top 3 most likely to die list, and as dark as that sounds, death is just a reality of Stranger Things, people. So let's start with the least likely of the 3 to the most likely to die. Now, all of the characters that I'm going to be choosing from are only the main cast, because it's way too easy to pick from the new characters. So, I'm choosing between 11, Mike, Dustin, Lucas, Will, Max, Billy, Steve, Nancy, Jonathan, Hopper, Joyce, and Dr. Owens. So, who's number 3? Drum roll, please. And it is Steve Harrington. I know. How much of a gut punch would it be to see bully turned supermom / ultimate babysitter Steve get axed before his character arc got to finish up? I think either way, his character was definitely redeemed in Season 2, and because he's turned into such a selfless character, remember, he was willing to forgive Nancy even though he did absolutely nothing wrong in Season 2. He gave Jonathan back a new camera, and he protected the kids when they went down in the tunnels, and when Billy tried to hurt Lucas as well, he stepped up to try and protect them. So I could really see him getting a hero's death where his sacrifice could save another character like Dustin. I mean, how depressing would that be if he gave his life so Dustin could live? But again, no need to worry here. Of the 3, I think he's the least likely to die. So, take a deep breath. It's all going to be fine. He's probably not going to die. Number 2 on my list is Dr. Owens. Now, I spent the majority of last season not knowing if I should trust Dr. Owens, as nothing good can come out of the government-run Hawkins lab, but he turned out to be a decent guy. He cared about helping Will, and he got Hopper custody of 11 and gave her a new identity to try and live a normal life. He also came close to death somehow, as we saw him injured in the stairway back in episode 9 of Season 2. However, just because he escaped death once doesn't mean he's totally safe from it this coming season. Now, I am aware that the Hawkins lab was shut down, but that doesn't mean they don't have some other top secret facility somewhere to keep watching the Upside Down, and if there was another place, he would probably be in charge. And if he ends up in the middle of some Upside Down action again, I could very much see him falling prey to some Demodogs, or maybe even a new monster that'll come from the Upside Down. Plus, I think this is a safe death that most fans would be okay with. Now, who is the most likely to die, you ask? Number 1 is Billy Hargrove. Now, the character is, I think he's probably the most likely, because ultimately, I just don't see what purpose he serves to the story other than he's a human antagonist for our characters. I don't see the creators trying to redeem him in any way. I mean, at the end of Season 2, he gives Max a look when she's getting ready to go to the snowball that he's going to back off a little bit, but I'm not buying it. I'm not really buying it totally. I mean, nearly 2 years later, I think he'll be back to his old ways, and I can definitely see the creators using his death as like a treat to the fans because we're such sick people who love watching bad people get killed off in pop culture media for our entertainment. So if he does die, let's hope he gets eaten by a nice little Demogorgon. But anyways, that has been it for this video, and I sincerely hope you guys and gals enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like as it helps my channel out a whole bunch. Also, consider subscribing if you enjoy all things horror reviews, speculation, and news. If you do choose to subscribe, I'll love you forever, and you'll get free cookies. Tomorrow, be sure to tune in. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be dropping my Castle Rock Episode 8 spoiler review as well as Easter eggs, so if you don't want to miss that for sure. Anyways, this has been Millennial Movies, and I will see you all very soon.